Hello, good morning everyone. This is Shobhit Sahu, roll number 17EC01037, and I'm going to speak a few minutes about the first lab experiment with the Digital Signal Processing Laboratory, whose project guide or lab instructor is Professor M.S. Manikandan. So it's a 3 hours lab, and the first experiment was to do Arduino programs for studying the performance of various filters, mainly the moving average filter, the first order derivative filter, and the 3-point central derivative filter. The first question was to choose a filter to smooth out high frequency noises present in the signal. So the use for this filter, I'll show you the experiment, like the code that I've written to conduct this experiment. The first question was solved in this one. We took the sample space, 1000 sample space, that was the PPG data that was provided by the lab instructor as well. Y of 1000 is the 1000 sample space or the array to set the or to save the output data. Once we do the serial.begin 9600, it sets the baud rate at 9600. In the void loop, first we initialize y of I equals to 0. After that, we put L equal to 8, that is the window size. That is for moving averaging of 8 window size means the average will be calculated for consecutively 8 like samples of 8 eights. So there is one loop for I equal to 0 for till the end, and there is also a nested loop for j equal to 0 to 8 sample spaces. After that, if till I is greater than j, we calculate the difference, like we calculate y of I is equal to y of I plus x of I minus j. So this x of I minus j, what it does is that it calculates the previous sample spaces till the 8 samples. So the value is calculated and it is averaged and it is printed out. Serial.print x of I of into 100 prints out the x of like the input signal or the PPG signal. Serial println y of I into 100 prints out the output signal, that is the like the filter signal. So when we'll do it, I'll just compile and verify. So you get to see that the thing was done completely and very smoothly. We'll go for the tools and the serial plotter. So as you can see, this amount of the variation on the high frequency part has been smoothened out, and the net, like the resultant waveform, is as smooth as it could be. Increasing or decreasing the window size can cause a change in this also. So we'll also show you that in case of a, like if in case the window size is changed, for suppose it's changed to 20, so on changing to 20 can also affect the experiment by a margin, and that is what I'll be showing you right now. As you can see, the as soon as I change the size to window, the waves are more smoothened. So you can see those corners between the two high troughs, that those waves have been smoothened, and the very high frequency components have been also cut down. So I guess you get what moving average filter does from this experiment. We'll go to the second experiment. So the second experiment asks us to choose a filter to emphasize the high slope portions in the signal. Now for the high slope portions, we'll be using this code, experiment 1-2. In the X 1000 is there are 1000 samples, again the same PPG samples that our lab instructor have sent us, and Y of 1000 is the same 1000 number of samples, like the output array. Again we set the baud rate at 9600. Void, in the void loop, first we put up a loop for my equal to 0 to 1000, or like for till 999, and we increment it by 1 using I plus plus. Now y of I is equal to x of I minus x of I minus 1. Now x of I minus x of I minus 1 is what? It's a derivative filter. Derivative filter single. single point derivative filter. So here y of I is equal to x of I minus x of I minus 1 signifies that the output depends on the current value and just the previous value. So that is how we calculate the, that is how we cancel out the high frequency portions, by smoothing out this way. Serial.print prints out the input waveform and serial.println prints out the output waveform. So I'll just show you it on once on the Arduino board, the output waveforms also. So let's see the output ones. I'll just serial I'll just use serial plotter to see the output. See, as you can see here, this high frequency components and all has been reduced to these smoothing parts with regular intervals of trusses and crafts. So as you can see that the filter has worked perfectly, and this is how the derivative filter actually works, and I guess you get the idea about it. Now we'll go to the third experiment, and there is a small disclaimer for everyone. Like the third experiment is actually, yeah, the third experiment is to design a MA filter with L is equal to floor 0.8 into N to extract the baseline drift component from the signal. Now this question I have marked as experiment 1 of 4. Please don't confuse it with the fourth experiment. Experiment 1 of 4 is actually the third experiment. I'll explain in the code itself. So usually the signal that we get is the high frequency component, the baseline and the PPG data. And apart from that, usually the waveforms that we get, they are usually the PPG data, the high frequency components and the baseline. The first part comes as using the MA filter to remove the high frequency component. So using the MA filter, we can see that again a window size of 8 has been used, and using the MA filter, we have removed the high frequency component, and after that there is only a baseline and a PPG left. In next is for an I and I equal to 0, I less than 1000 I plus plus, Z of I equal to 0. There, like I'll tell you what is this. X is the input signal, Y is one output signal, Z is the another output signal. Now what we have to do is we have to apply a moving average filter on the sampling of samples of X, and those outputs will be saved in Y. That samples should have the window size of 8. Now in the next part, what we have to do, now the next part is we use a moving, like same moving average filter, but this time according to the question, the L is floor of 0.8 into N. Now N is a sample space which is 1000, so 0.8 into N is 800. So that is what we will be trying, and after that this L is equal to 800, and with the window length of 800 we'll be doing out the whole program. Z of I is equal to Z of I plus Y of I minus 1. So for 800 times the Y of I, then Y of I minus 1, I minus 2, I minus 3, such values for 800 samples will be added and stored in Z of I. Now Z of I is equal to Z of I by 800 will calculate me the output. Output should be like Z of I is now the PPG plus the baseline. Now Y of I minus Z of I will give me the straight baseline, and that is going to be my output of I. I'll show you the verified result. You will see the clearly the baseline is generated, and will and yeah, that should be the baseline generated. Just give me a second. See, you can see that the baseline is